It's Thursday, January 12th, and welcome to The Rundown, a daily video recap where we'll bring you here into the Post newsroom and break down all the day's top headlines. In a late-breaking story today, another Ohio University administrator announces he's leaving Athens. Brian Bridges, OU's Vice Provost for Diversity, Access, and Equity, announced last night that he is leaving OU for a new job at the United Negro College Fund. Bridges, who's been at OU since 2009, is in charge of all the university's diversity initiatives, and he's also the most recent in a long line of administrative departures here in Athens. In another front-page story, more than 170 people packed Athens High School yesterday to voice opposition to a proposal to close Chansey Elementary School. Those in attendance argued that the district could restructure different grade levels, condense class sizes, or close the administration building in order to avoid having to shut down the elementary school. For in-depth coverage of last night's meeting, including an audio slideshow, the full story, and photos, make sure to check out the Post online. For our last segment today, I'm joined by sports editor Mike Stainbrook, who clearly didn't get the dress down on the rundown memo earlier today, but I wanted to talk a little bit about the big game last night against Buffalo in the Convo. Bobcats came out on top. What exactly happened? Break it down for us.
Well, it was a really good game for Ohio as far as rebounding goes in a couple ways. One, physically rebounding the basketball, with Buffalo coming in as the number 3 rebounding team in the country, and Ohio out-rebounded Buffalo. On a more metaphorical level, Buffalo had come in as the hotter team here, but Ohio ended up on top and rebounded from its 2-game losing streak, improving to 13-3 on the season, 1-1 in MAC play, getting back into the middle of the MAC East, and it's, as always, a brand new season once MAC play begins.
Definitely. Now tell me a little bit more, give me a feel for the game, because I know that we started off really hot, hit a few big threes from Kellogg, then things got a little closer, and then they spread back out. What was the tempo like?
It was very high energy, pretty high pace, high tempo most of the game. Not necessarily the cleanest game, a ton of fouls. The officiating crew is sort of known for calling a lot of fouls and sort of put it in overdrive, but also just a very high energy game. Coach Gross and a couple of the players mentioned in the press conference how much of a help the ozone was. And also just the up-tempo defense that Ohio played to open the game was really important. Buffalo didn't get on the board until about 5.5 minutes into the game. Ohio jumped out to a 12-0 lead and had that lead the rest of the game. Buffalo never got closer than 3. So definitely a high-tempo game, and Ohio rode that energy all the way to the win.
Cool. Now what's next for the Bobcats? Moving forward, what are we looking at?
Ohio travels to Akron on Saturday. Akron was picked to finish atop the MAC East along with Kent State. Those two were actually picked above Ohio this year. So Akron pulled out a tough win against Bowling Green actually last night. And so Akron's going to have a little bit of a, coming off of a scare a little bit, but also a little bit of momentum coming off a close win. Akron's been having a pretty good season so far. Ohio obviously was a little bit of the surprise of the MAC, starting 13-3 to this point. So it should be definitely a tough game going on the road this early in the MAC schedule against a team just as tough as Akron. But should be a good test for both teams to see exactly how good they are at this point in the season.
Definitely. Well, thanks, Mike. I appreciate it. You heard it. Bobcats were victorious last night in the Convo, beating Buffalo, and getting their a win in the MAC home opener this year. That's going to wrap up the rundown for today. As always, make sure to stick with the Post. Follow us online at www.thepost.ohioU.edu. Follow us on Twitter at The Post. We're on Facebook as well, all kinds of social media for tons of exclusive content, videos, photos, stories, blog posts, a little bit of everything. Remember to stick with the Post, your independent voice on campus and in Athens. Thank you, and happy Thursday.